So you've been going to the gym, you've been consistent, and you've been doing a lot of stuff. You've been lifting weights, runs, rope skips, calisthenics, but whenever you're looking at your results, you're never impressed. Your pace is not good enough, and your lifts are not good enough. Your physique is not as impressive as you thought it would be. And so you find yourself skipping days and then skipping weeks, and that's how you find yourself completely fell off. Well, I've been there and I fell off multiple times, but this time, since I started back in 2025 in April, I never skipped a week. I always ran twice a week minimum. I always trained at home, and I always made sure that I am, if not in caloric deficit, I'm at least at maintenance. I'm not gaining weight whatsoever. And if you want to lose weight within the next 30 days and then within the next 6 months, then falling off is not an option. And in this video, I will make sure to fortify your mind so you never fall off again. So falling off usually starts before you actually stop, before you completely stop going to the gym, doing runs, and whatever. Because it starts when the effort you're making no longer feels like enough. Like I mentioned in the beginning, same thing that happened with you happened with me as well. Right? The problem here is that I want to be fit as a general image that we have in our mind, especially people who are losing weight, like coming from high BMI and very high fat percentage. I want to be fit is such a beautiful idea that we work towards, right? And the thing is that I want to be fit is actually several different goals. They're not the same thing. I want to be fit could mean I want a lean physique. Could it mean I want to run 5 kilometers easily? Or I want to do a sub-4 marathon. Running and marathon running are two different things, by the way. I used to think they're the same. So I want to have a strong body. I want to do heavy lifting. I want to do boxing. I want to look better at shirts. Maybe you don't want lean physique. Maybe you just want to look better in shirts, like I proudly do right now, right? Everything here I'm talking about has a different approach, a different outcome. When all of these live inside one vague goal, that, for example, I want to be fit, the progress in one area still feel like a failure. Because you cannot progress in every area here just because you're doing a few sets of everything, right? Let me take you through top athletes. For example, let's talk about like elites in sports, okay? Every sport will eventually create a different body, all right? This is Christian Blumenberg something. He's Norwegian. His name is... not very easy to me. He's a top triathlete. He has the highest VO2 max in the world. If you don't know what it is, then it's basically how efficient your body in using oxygen. He has the highest number of that, 102 something. Does he look lean? Does he look like the Instagram influencers, for example? Does he has like definition of body? No, these are mostly guts and light muscles. You can see that, right? We can take like the strongest man heavy lifters. Okay, I remember this guy in particular. I forgot his name. He did the heaviest deadlift, right? Does he look defined? Yeah, he's jacked as fuck. I can see that. The same thing with the other guy here. But are they defined? Do you think he can run as much as Christian here? I don't think so. Let's talk about UFC and MMA fighters, for example. You see, I forgot this guy's name. He's into bare knuckling, and this is a heavyweight champion. Like that's a dad body, basically. There is no deficiency, and he definitely, I promise you, he cannot run a 5 kilometers at all. I don't think he can. I don't think he ever tries to do that because what I'm about to tell you. And same thing applies for lean physique. Having a lean physique will not guarantee that you'll be able to do all of that. Let me zoom out. And having a lean physique will not mean that you can do strong heavy lifting. You can do cycling, swimming, and running easily. It doesn't guarantee that you'll be able to kick the shit out of someone in an octangular cage. Everything is different. Every sport is different, and every outcome of the sport is different as well. All right. So what happens is that when we want to lose weight, we are doing multiple stuff, right? One time we read about just doing like bro split or push-pull split. All right, we do that. And then we need to add cardio. But what type of cardio? Then we go crazy. We go above and beyond. We do rope skipping. We do running. We do tons of shit. Okay? And that's where exactly I was. This is me back in 2018. You can see that I was fit. I was doing runs. I was training handstand, and I was also trying to obtain elegant physique, right? But I was always wondering why my performance is not as good as I want it to be. Like, I'm not doing good at lifting, for example. Why can't I run 5 kilometers easily? I always enjoyed running, so it was a huge constraint to me. Why my pace is always slow? Honestly, looking back, I was doing good at the gym, but I was grading myself against different capability, because everything is different, right? Every sport is different, and every objective is different. Sometimes they cross, that's true, but if you want to be peak in something, you have to kind of sacrifice some of the rest of the things, right? Like obtaining a lean physique will naturally ask from you not to engage in marathons, for example, because in marathon you will have to eat a lot of carbs, and you will have to sometimes after you finish a run you binge eat because your body wants to compensate, and you find yourself eating. Despite that, I like in everything, like I used to do good runs, my physique was like decent, and I was training to do a handstand. I was not impressed. I always thought that I'm not doing good enough. And that's how I got burned out, and I started skipping weeks and skipping months even. I reached a point where I was like 1 month on and 1 month off. I just go all in for a month, and then I fall off. And that's how the moving finish line appears, right? I want to run fast, and I want to run for a long distance, and I also want to do a handstand, and I also want to lift heavy, and I also want to do rope skipping. I also enjoy rope skipping, but yes, I want to be able to do like intense workouts. All that together. And you can see it clearly now, like how can you fit all that into one program? And you have one clear objective. You can't. You have multiple objectives. You have multiple interests, and you are trying to have it all. No one can have it all. That's why I got burned out earlier. So basically, when you have multiple things you're trying to improve at once, you cannot focus your energy on one thing. So what happens is that you become average in everything. So if you want, for example, lean physique, then what you're looking for is to do like compound lifting and to focus on muscle groups without precisely focusing on increasing weightlifting. Because for example, one thing I learned from a coach back in the day was, like, if you want to lean physique, you shouldn't be training like your core so heavy, because what happens is that it becomes like rounded, bloated, because the constant pressure is always like pushes the muscles forward, and what happens is that you kind of have a belly, but it is made of muscle, and this is not aesthetically pleasing. And so if you want a lean physique, you don't train your core. But if you want to lift really heavy, and if you want to do like heavy squats, and you want to like move everything with your chest, then yes, training your core is important regardless of how it looks. Same thing with running. If you want to run, you have to have a lighter weight. Lighter weight can mean lighter muscles, and therefore it can mean that you, like Christian Blumenberg, for example, the guy that I showed you, he is not defined in, like, of course he's a top athlete, I cannot argue that, but he doesn't look lean like Instagram influencers, for example. And so as someone who is working in office, for example, like I do, you want to look better in your clothes. Does it necessarily mean that you want to be like very defined? Most people, like most of the times, no. It's not very interesting, to be honest, because maintaining it is like really a headache, right? And so what happens is that I just want to fit in clothes properly. I want like my proportions to be good. And so if you work in an office like me, for example, and you want to have a direction on what to do, here's what I did. So basically I want to have like a good enough body. I don't not necessarily defined like with shredded and all that. At the same time, I want to do marathon running. So the fine line here is that I do enough of like cardio sessions, and I always try to progressively overload. That's true, but I don't necessarily focus on like getting a certain reps or certain weight, right? And at the same time, I make sure I'm running a few times a week and losing weight gradually. Okay, that's how I sustain my ability to run, and at the same time I'm losing weight. Why did I choose marathon running in particular? Well, I was like, since I was a kid, I was always like praised for my endurance. Like everybody would say, oh, how can you walk this much and how you can do this much? Like you really have like a strong endurance. That's impressive, even when I was overweight. And so I thought of it like, what's the thing that demands endurance the most? Like marathon running, like very interesting. Can I do it? Well, let's see. And since then, since 2020 actually, I wanted to do like proper marathon running. I went a few times at the park. It didn't work out, but in the last like year and a half, I was consistent with that because I finally removed what was stuck here. Perfectionism. I just wanted to do the run and finish as fast as possible, as early as possible, and look as physically pleasing as possible. If I fit in my clothes well, then I'm good. I don't need to like push above and beyond. That's different from having a lean physique. Having lean physique would require me to stop doing cardio completely and just do light walks and focus on like weightlifting to a certain degree. And I would be like investing more time in that. But I cannot have both. So I would have something in the middle. I train enough to run and I train enough to obtain the body that I desire. And I'm advising you to do the same because like before the last year, I was lost. I was doing everything and nothing at the same time. One time I was focused on doing calisthenics, right? Like I would do the Saitama workout, which was popular back then, 100 push-ups, 100 squats, and 100 crunches, and then 10 kilometers. I didn't do the 10 kilometers. I did it in a separate day, but it was not even 10 kilometers. I used to do 5. And I will always fail doing that because then I have to go to the gym. And also I was considering cycling and I was all over the place. And at the same time, I saw that, I maybe want to do some basketball because it was interesting to me back then. Because I used to do this, I want to be fit, like the huge umbrella, while I was smoking, ironically. I want to do all that. Right, and I also want to be cool and hype, and I also want social circle, all that together, and I want to achieve that as soon as possible. Well, what I learned is that the more you carry, the less you'll be able to achieve in what you are carrying. So my recommendation is to split your focus on a few things that matter the most to you. Do you want to, like, for example, like in losing weight, for example, especially for people who work in offices, first thing, focus on losing weight to the point where you fit in your clothes properly, right? Then you move on to like fix your proportions and like for if you need shoulders, you play shoulders more than chest, and you do compound lifting. You do mix of everything. Maybe you want to follow your passion in doing calisthenics. You want like the poses and whatnot. Then you do that. Separate from bodybuilding, these are two different things. But everything becomes easier when you lose the weight. And I made a video on how to lose weight. It's boring, but it gets you the result. So I highly recommend that you watch that. I hope this gave you the insight that you need to make sure you don't burn out in the future. And all you have to do is to stick to what you decide that matters to you for the next 3 months to 6 months, and you'll be fine. Like I only like locked in on losing weight for 2.5 months so far, and I've seen a huge progress. And I think if you do the same, you will feel the same. This is for me in this video. Thank you for watching as always. If you have any questions, just ask me in the comments. And as always, stay safe, take care, goodbye for now.